Morning peeps, self-isolation day 27. Again, hopefully everyone is okay. Hopefully everyone is doing well wherever you are in the world. It's another beautiful day outside. Another beautiful day. I can't remember a March, April, and they're forecasting May to be very good as well. I can't remember a March, April, May in this country that's been like this. I can't remember. I know a lot of people are saying it's because of less pollution. Is that true? I don't even know if that's true or not. Obviously, there are less cars on the road. All the factories up north are shut. But still, this is phenomenal weather. Go outside, people. Get your government allotted 1 hour of exercise, walking, whatever you're going to do. Obviously, you don't just stay on the street corner doing absolutely nothing. Don't forget as well to like, share, and subscribe. I don't really say that anymore. Do I need to say that? Obviously, only like and share the video if you like the video. If you don't like the video, then don't share it. Patreon account as well. Link is in the description. All right, before we start on this what would have, by the way, this is the best what would have ever. There isn't going to be a better what would have happened. I can't think of one. Tyson Holyfield might be better. 1991, but not for me. I don't know why I put the coffee down. I still need to drink it. But not for me. This is the best what would have happened. But before we start on that, Devin Haney has been given the WBC belt back again. It's just such a crap situation, isn't it? Let's be honest. Obviously, look, Loma got elevated to super champion, and then it was a case of the next man up. I mean, that's where they messed up. They messed up from there. Really and truly, it should have been, if Devin Haney was ranked #1 at the time, with Loma being champion, it should have been #1 versus #2 for a vacant belt. The idea of giving someone a belt who hasn't fought for a belt, it just doesn't sit with me at all. I hate that. I really hate that. And now, obviously he was injured, so Luke Campbell was going to fight Fortuna for the vacant belt, and then he was going to fight the winner of that. Why don't they just scrap that, scrap everything, and let Devin Haney fight Luke Campbell for the belt, right? I think we all accept that Luke Campbell is a very talented, world-level, world-ranked fighter. Let him fight Devin Haney for the belt. But what they're doing is they're fighting for the interim belt. That's Luke Campbell and Fortuna. Devin Haney is the champion. He gets to have a mandatory, and then the winner of Fortuna versus Luke Campbell fights Devin Haney, if Devin Haney beats his mandatory, which I'm guessing he's going to. I mean, is it even a mandatory or is it a voluntary? I don't even know. But I think the whole situation is a mess. It's just, again, it makes boxing so complicated and just crap, if I'm honest with you, just crap. All right, let's get to our what would have happened. Again, I know I get excited sometimes, but this is the greatest what would have happened. And it's a shame it didn't happen. September 2012 should have been Canelo Alvarez versus Paul Williams. What? Yeah, good, innit? Good. How great would that have been? It's a shame. Obviously, we know what happened to Paul Williams. Had that motorcycle accident in May, paralyzed, never fought again. You know, there was, I remember reading so many articles about Paul Williams after the accident. There was actually talks about him possibly walking again. But obviously it hasn't happened. But I just like his spirit, right? I think his spirit is so good. Every time you see him at boxing events or in gyms, he still has such a good spirit about him. And when you consider how severe an accident it was and where he was and what could have been, it's a shame. It's a shame. But that was supposed to happen September 2012. Canelo went on to fight Josecito Lopez. Stopped him, I think, in the 6th or 7th. It was supposed to be Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz fought Lopez, and the idea was Victor Ortiz was going to beat Lopez, and then it was going to be a big showdown between Victor Ortiz and Canelo. And that would have been a big fight back then. But Victor Ortiz, some say quit in the corner with a broken jaw. I don't know if you quit with a broken jaw, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, Canelo went on to fight Josecito Lopez. All right, so who would have won that fight back then? Remember, this is September 2012, going backwards, people. Remember, the idea of this game isn't to look about what happened after, because that's unfair to Paul Williams because he didn't fight after, right? And let's try and think of Canelo back then, not the wrecking machine Canelo that we think of now. Canelo back then. Let me just remind you of what Canelo was back then. In and around that time, so 2000, sort of 10, 11, so 2010, 11, Canelo had fought people like Ryan Rhodes, Boldemir, who else did he fight? Lovemore Ndu. I think that went to points. Lovemore Ndu. Matthew Hatton went to points as well. Alfonso Gomez of the Contender stopped him. And I think his big win up until that point was Sugar Shane Mosley. But that was at 2011 Sugar Shane Mosley. So we're talking to Mosley after Floyd. We're talking basically a Mosley at like 39-40. That was his biggest win back then. There was no Austin Trout. There was no Lara. There was no Floyd. So we're talking, remember, Canelo going backwards. That's what we're trying to picture here. That's the Canelo. He was WBC champion. I'm trying to think who he won that belt from. Can't remember. Who did he get the WBC 154-pound belt from? Can't remember, people, but I think he was champion. But there wasn't much, right? There isn't that record. No one jumps out at you like, oh my God. Paul Williams back then. By the way, Paul Williams' record at the time was 41-2. But he had beaten everyone he'd fought, right? So the two losses on his record are Carlos Quintana. He fought Carlos Quintana in 2008, I think the first fight was. So June 2008, lost that on points. That was for the WBO welterweight belt. Fought him again in September and knocked him out in the first round, right? The other loss is Sergio Martinez. Beat Martinez, majority decision. A lot of people maybe thought he lost that fight. Then obviously he had that severe knockout loss to Martinez when they fought at middleweight. I mean, one of the most vicious knockouts, the way in which he face planted ever, that I've seen ever, right? Rebounded from that knockout and fought Lara. The Lara, by the way, not any other Lara, the Lara. Again, some people maybe thought that could have gone either way, but that's no discredit regardless. Even if you score that fight to Lara, it's still a close fight, right? And that's Lara we're talking about. Lara back then, legit, right? And then he had a fight against Ishida, which he won. Remember as well, Paul Williams back then was the guy that everyone thought could have beaten Floyd. When everyone thinks about Floyd's career, like everyone brings up Floyd's career as a welterweight, everyone's like, oh, but he ducked Margarito and Paul Williams, right? Paul Williams is the guy in and around sort of 2007 to 2009. Everyone thought Paul Williams had a chance against Floyd. And he had a chance for a couple of reasons, right? One, he could punch, right? The other one is 6'1", 6'2", rangy, southpaw, and for a guy that big, could move a bit as well. So he's bringing so many problems, so many different things to the boxing ring. He had some good wins as well. He beat Margarito, legit Margarito back then. He beat Winky Wright, again, beat Martinez, beat Lara. These are legit wins, right? But some would say that Canelo might have been getting him at the right time, right? That knockout against Sergio Martinez and the performance against Lara weren't great. Even the Ishida performance, he won every round, but it wasn't the greatest performance. You could hit Paul Williams, right? You could hit him. But if you look at the guys that were able to kind of cause him problems, Martinez was able to get up close, right, and cause him problems because of his movement. Martinez, back then, fantastic mover, right? Lara, same thing, great mover. Canelo wasn't considered a great mover. He wasn't, right? Even now, people don't consider Canelo a good mover. So I wonder how Canelo would have got through that long jab, that rangy punches, and just that 6'2" frame. I just wonder how he would have been able to get up close. I don't know. Again, what we're trying to think, we're not trying to think of Canelo, Danny Jacobs, or Canelo Golovkin, or even Canelo Floyd. We're trying to think of Canelo back then. It's not the same Canelo that we think of now. It really isn't. Paul Williams back then was frightening and very much avoided, very big. Again, he fought Sergio Martinez at middleweight. although Martinez wasn't the biggest middleweight. Regardless, he was at middleweight. So 154, he would have been massive at 154. Look, he was massive at middleweight. So 154 is going to be uber massive. What an interesting fight. What an interesting fight. Canelo versus Paul Williams. Paul Williams' punch output was outrageous. Outrageous. And he could bang. And he's a southpaw. And he had a good jab. Not, I don't think, the best boxing IQ. Not the best. Who are you picking? Who are you picking? I think Paul Williams would have beat Canelo. Again, there was definitely slippage coming from Paul Williams. I do think the best Paul Williams was behind him, right? I think the Paul Williams between 2007, 2010, before he got knocked out by Martinez, that Paul Williams there is running through Canelo, I think. Just because, again, his attributes are ridiculous. Again, it's very reminiscent of Tommy Hearns. Maybe not as much snap as Tommy Hearns, but just that length, it's a problem. It's a big problem. And again, you've got to be such a good mover to get in close, right? I mean, if you stand on the outside of him, you're getting picked off all night. And what Paul Williams could do as well, he could fight dirty. He could fight dirty inside. For such a big guy, Paul Williams was able to fight dirty inside. So again, so many attributes. Again, that's why people say he could have been the guy to beat Mayweather. Could have been that guy. I'm going Paul Williams to have beaten Canelo. I'm going Paul Williams. Again, I'm thinking of Canelo back then, and I'm thinking you got some solid wins in there, right? But, I mean, Matthew Hatton a year earlier took you to points. Yes, you won every round, but Matthew Hatton took you to points. Matthew Hatton. No discredit to Matthew Hatton, by the way, but you went points with Shane Mosley. Yeah, you beat Boldemir. You beat Alfonso Gomez. You beat Ryan Rhodes up to that point. That was the end of Ryan Rhodes. I mean, Paul Williams is a different dude to them. Different dude. And again, Paul Williams has beaten everyone he fought, right? Even Carlos Quintana, which was considered an upset in terms of him losing his belt, came back first round, demolished him. Demolished him. Carlos Quintana legit, by the way, back then. Don't sleep on that. I'm going Paul Williams to have beaten Canelo. Would he have got the decision on the judges' scorecards? That's another thing altogether. But I'm going Paul Williams to have beaten. Because even when I think of the Lara one, I think that could have gone either way. You could say the same thing about Canelo when Canelo fought Lara, right? It could have gone either way. Some people thought Lara won that fight. So that, that shouldn't take away from Paul Williams. So I'm going Paul Williams to beat Canelo. What do you guys think? What a fight we missed out on. It's funny because, I'll end on this. When we think of Canelo's record now, right? Win or lose. Canelo's record now, I say win or lose, only one loss on there. But when we think of that record now, imagine inserting Paul Williams into that. I mean, how thick is the record already? Imagine he beat Paul Williams in 2012 and you add that to the resume that he's already got. Bloody hell, what a resume that would have been. Anyway, guys, what do you think about that one? Let me know. Peace. Guys, sorry, it's me again. I'm back. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, please like and share the videos. It really does help the channel a lot. And if you want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon account. The link is in the description. All right, I'm done. Peace.